All India Radio presents Morning News. Supreme Court refuses to stay operation of Citizenship Amendment Act. Next hearing on pleas challenging the act to be held on 22nd January. Goods and Services Tax Council fixes a uniform tax rate of 28% on lotteries, rationalises rates on bags. U.S. House of Representatives votes to impeach President Donald Trump. India and U.S. sign industrial security agreement for transfer of defence technology. And in cricket, India wins second ODI against West Indies by 107 runs. Spinner Kuldip Yadav claims second hat-trick to become first Indian to achieve the feat. The Supreme Court has decided to examine the constitutional validity of the Citizenship Amendment Act CAA. However, the court refused to stay its operation as sought by some lawyers appearing for petitioners. Attorney General K.K. Venugopal, representing the centre, opposed the petitioner's submission. He said there are as many as 4 judgments which have held that a law cannot be stayed after being notified. Hearing a batch of pleas challenging the CAA, the top court yesterday issued notice to the centre and sought its response by the second week of January next year. A bench comprising Chief Justice of India S.A. Bobde and Justices B.R. Gavai and Suryakant fixed 59 petitions, including those filed by the Indian Union Muslim League and Congress leader Jairam Ramesh, for hearing on the 22nd of January. The bench also agreed to the submission of a lawyer that common people should be made aware about the aim and contents of the CAA. The Meghalaya Legislative Assembly is holding a one-day special session today to pass a resolution to bring the state under the Inner Line Permit, ILP. Our correspondent reports that various social organizations and civil society groups have been demanding that ILP be implemented in Meghalaya in view of the Citizenship Amendment Act. The official resolution to urge upon the centre to implement the ILP in the state under the Eastern Bengal Frontier Regulation 1873 was unanimously approved by the Meghalaya Cabinet recently. In Uttar Pradesh, Section 144 of the CRPC, which prohibits public gatherings, has been imposed in the entire state for today. In a video statement on Twitter, State Director General of Police O.P. Singh appealed to parents not to allow their children to take part in any protest, otherwise action will be taken against them. Our correspondent says there has been no report of any protest nor untoward incident in the state in the last 24 hours and that the situation is under control. Meanwhile, 18 FIRs have been filed in the state in connection with the violence during protests against the Citizenship Amendment Act, the CAA. The Supreme Court has confirmed the capital punishment awarded to one of the 4 convicts in the Nirbhaya gang rape and murder case. The Apex Court yesterday dismissed a plea by one of the convicts, Akshay Kumar Singh, who sought a review of its 2017 judgment upholding his death penalty. With this verdict, the review petitions of all the 4 death row convicts in the case stand dismissed by the Apex Court. After the verdict was pronounced, Akshay's counsel sought 3 weeks to file a mercy petition before the President. The Goods and Services Tax or GST Council has fixed a uniform tax rate of 28% on both state-run and private lotteries. It can also decide to rationalise the GST rate on woven and non-woven bags to 18%. The decisions were taken at the 38th meeting of the Council, chaired by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in New Delhi yesterday. Briefing reporters after the meeting, Revenue Secretary Ajay Bhushan Pandey said the rates on lottery and woven and non-woven bags will be effective from the 1st of March next year.
In the last GST Council meeting, the rate was fixed at 12%, but when we received representation that it has led to an inverted duty structure and therefore it needed rationalization, so the GST Council decided that it will have a uniform rate that is of 18% for the bags falling under the both HS code.
The Council also approved various amendments to laws which will be introduced in Union Budget 2020. The centre has offered 8.5 lakh metric tons of pulses from the central buffer to state governments at average market rates. The purpose of this move is to ensure an increased availability of pulses in the market and to maintain price stability across the country. The decision was taken at a meeting chaired by Consumer Affairs Secretary Avinash Srivastav to review prices and the availability of pulses. The government has announced a 436 crore rupee outlay for skilling 4 lakh professionals in artificial intelligence, blockchain and cybersecurity areas over the next 3 years. Minister for Electronics and IT Ravi Shankar Prasad told reporters in New Delhi yesterday that the program will increase employability and will add digital value to the talent pool. In Jharkhand, all arrangements have been put in place for the 5th and final phase of assembly elections tomorrow. 16 constituencies spread over Sahibganj, Pakur, Dumka, Jamtara, Deoghar and Goda districts of Santhal Pargana region will go to the polls in this phase. Polling in 5 assembly segments of Borio, Barhet, Litipada, Maheshpur and Shikaripara will be held between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. In the remaining 11 seats, voting will continue till 5 p.m. Jharkhand Chief Electoral Officer Vinay Kumar Chaubey said polling parties have been dispatched for their destinations. More from our correspondent.
The 4th phase of assembly elections is the most crucial one for both the ruling BJP and opposition parties ahead of the government formation exercise. During 2014 assembly elections, BJP had won 5 out of 16 seats. On the other hand, JMM won 6, Congress 3 and Babulal Marandi led Jharkhand Vikas Morcha 2. 237 candidates are in the fray for this phase. Important candidates whose fate will be decided are Ministers Louis Marandi and Randhir Singh, Congress Legislature Party Leader Alamgir Alam and Kuldip Yadav of Jharkhand Vikas Morcha. With KK Lal's report from Ranchi, Subhadra Ramachandran, AIR News.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The U.S. House of Representatives voted to impeach President Donald Trump. He is accused of abuse of power and obstruction of Congress related to his dealings with Ukraine. Today's vote set up a trial in the Senate that will decide whether he remains in office. With this, he has become the 3rd U.S. president in history to be impeached by the House. Earlier, the House of Representatives held a lengthy debate on whether to impeach him on these charges. Nearly all Democrats voted for the charges. Andrew Johnson and Bill Clinton were the other 2 former presidents who have been impeached. As the voting took place, President Trump was addressing a campaign rally in Michigan along with Vice President Mike Pence. India and the United States have agreed to deepen bilateral cooperation and increase defense trade. They also agreed to intensify their coordination with like-minded countries like Japan for a peaceful Indo-Pacific region and to put up a decisive fight against terrorism. The second 2+2 India-US ministerial dialogue in Washington chalked out a pathway to take the bilateral relationship between the two countries in 2020 to a new level. A number of agreements ranging from greater interaction between elected representatives, Industrial Security Annex ISA for collaboration in space, science and water, and people-to-people contact were signed. The 2 sides also inked an industrial security agreement that will allow the transfer of defense technology. After conclusion of the dialogue, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told reporters that the U.S. values India's perspective on security in the Indo-Pacific region. External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said India welcomes the United States as a founding member of the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, which will enhance its effectiveness in the region and preparedness against natural disasters.
Counter-terrorism effort was also discussed at the meeting, and these have been boosted by a growing consensus on the nature of terror threats in the region and the dangers of cross-border terrorism and sanctuaries. I appreciate very much the sentiments expressed by Secretary Pompeo on the 11th anniversary of the 26/11 Mumbai attack.
In Australia's New South Wales, authorities have declared a 7-day state of emergency as a record heatwave fanned unprecedented bushfires across the region. The New South Wales Premier said the state of emergency is due to catastrophic weather conditions. Authorities have predicted more intense heat for today and later in the week. Cold wave has further intensified in North India. In Uttarakhand, normal life has been affected due to the prevailing cold wave conditions. As per records, road, rail and air traffic has also been affected because of dense fog in the plains of the state. Cold wave continues in Kashmir region after the latest spell of rain and snowfall in the region last week. The minimum temperature throughout the valley continues to remain several notches below the freezing point. Srinagar recorded a night temperature of minus 3.7 degrees Celsius. In Himachal Pradesh, the weather remained dry and cold as Manali, Sundarnagar, Bhuntar, Keelong and Kalpa shivered at sub-zero temperatures, with the weatherman predicting heavy rain and snowfall in the next 2 to 3 days. In Rajasthan, Sikar was the coldest place in the state yesterday at 3.5 degrees Celsius. The maximum and minimum temperatures dropped by several notches across Punjab and Haryana yesterday, with Chandigarh recording the coldest day of the season. In Delhi, the maximum and minimum temperature is likely to hover around 19 degrees and 8 degrees Celsius today. All schools in Uttar Pradesh will remain closed today and tomorrow due to the cold weather. A state government order issued last night said that the schools have also been directed to reschedule the practical board examinations that were to be held on both these days. Here is a report.
Whole state is reeling under the cold wave conditions for the last 2 consecutive days. Maximum temperatures have been hovering around 12 degrees Celsius mark. At places like Lucknow, Gorakhpur, Banda, Orai, Khiri and Hamirpur, day temperature recorded 11 degrees below normal, forcing people to remain indoors. Dense fog has disrupted rail and road traffic also, and several trains are running behind their schedule. According to the Meteorological Department, dense fog is very likely in isolated pockets over west part of the state in the morning hours, and cold wave will also continue in east parts of state. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
President Ram Nath Kovind will preside over the second meeting of the Organizing Committee on the celebrations for the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi in New Delhi today. Portuguese Prime Minister Antonio Costa will also attend the meeting. He will arrive in the national capital today on a working visit. In cricket, India won the second ODI against the West Indies by 107 runs at Visakhapatnam last night. Chasing a target of 388 runs, the West Indies were all out for 280. With this win, India levelled the 3-match series 1-1. Skipper Kuldip Yadav achieved a hat-trick during the second ODI. He became the first Indian player to claim 2 hat-tricks in international cricket, joining an elite band that includes pace legend Wasim Akram. The third and final one-dayer will be played in Cuttack on Sunday. And now for an overview of today's newspapers, it's over to VC Pramod.
Thank you, Gunmala. Most papers carry news of 4 persons convicted for complicity in the 2008 Jaipur serial blasts. The Times of India headlines read, 4 convicted for Jaipur blasts that killed 80 and injured 170. The 5th accused received the benefit of doubt and was acquitted. Delhi simmering down, headlines The Pioneer, as Delhi remained relatively peaceful after the anti-CAA and National Register of Citizens protest. Several papers carry beautiful pictures of worship at the historic Jamia Masjid in Srinagar, which was thrown open to the public yesterday. The Asian Age writes, Namaz at Srinagar Mosque for first time since August 5. And finally, Times of India speaks of a piece of chewing gum more than 5,700 years old, recently found in southern Denmark. Ancient hunter-gatherers chewed birch bark into a gooey pitch to fix arrowheads. And with that, it's back to you, Gunmala.
Thank you, VC Pramod. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Supreme Court refuses to stay operation of Citizenship Amendment Act. Next hearing on pleas challenging the act to be held on 22nd January. Goods and Services Tax Council fixes a uniform tax rate of 28% on lotteries and rationalises rates on bags. U.S. House of Representatives votes to impeach President Donald Trump. India and U.S. sign industrial security arrangement for transfer of defence technology. And in cricket, India wins second ODI against West Indies by 107 runs. Skipper Kuldip Yadav claims second hat-trick to become first Indian to achieve this feat. And with that we end the morning news. Have a nice day.